Hey, good morning, everybody. Just the three of us on the couch today. We were all waiting for Ryan. We had to fill in a little bit. How did he get out of this?
I don't know.
He's probably shooting like 8 packages today, per usual.
Probably.
Yeah.
Special assignment.
Our producer Ashley tells us.
That's code for shooting 8 filler pieces.
Means he's got the runs. He's in the bathroom. Special assignment. We can make jokes like that on the after show because this isn't the news.
Yeah. And he's not here to defend
Right,
himself.
yeah. No, he's in the bathroom. He's struggling right now. Thinking of Ryan this morning. Anyway.
Our thoughts are with you,
Thoughts
Ryan.
or prayers?
Well, listen, we got a lot more show to fill without 4 voices, so we got to start dragging our feet now at the beginning so we get to the finish line. This morning, we are talking about something pretty interesting, and I think it might have an impact on you guys. I want to know from your personal experience, have you ever had your online reputation damaged in some way? If so, listen up, because this story is going to get you laughing. We're asking because a judge in British Columbia just ordered a woman to pay her ex-boyfriend more than $150,000 after she, quote, damaged his reputation on Instagram and other websites. You can use your imagination as to how she did so, but for months, the woman, a self-described Instagram influencer, which is the worst kind of famous, with more than 17,000 followers, made several not-so-nice posts about her ex-boyfriend, who is a Vancouver business consultant. The post claimed he was a cheater and an alcoholic, among other things. The woman tried to tell the judge her friends made the post. Yeah, that always works.
Yeah.
But they were able to track the post to her computer because,
how that works?
Technology. The judge says the internet can be used as a tool to harm reputations and believes in this case that's exactly what happened. So what do you think about this ruling? Does the guy deserve the money? And does your online reputation matter at all to you?
Sometimes it matters greatly, because think about nowadays, we Google everything before, whether it's job candidates or a new restaurant or a hotel. Everything, unfortunately, what's on the internet does matter these days.
Yeah, I just went through the whole hiring process, and I'm very protective of the online reputation, especially Facebook. So again, when people leave comments, it alerts me, say someone posted this or posted that, because I've had potential employers go through and talk to me on the phone. Hey, we looked at your Facebook. We looked at this. These are the kind of posts you're doing. So, and it may not be everyone's occupation, but with ours, Facebook and Twitter, and I always joke that when Facebook and Twitter first came out, your news director always said, I better not catch you on Facebook at your desk. And now it's mandatory. You better be posting all day long on Facebook.
On Facebook.
It's
I had no choice.
It's done a complete 180. And it sounds juvenile, but in some occupations, and I can only speak about ours, it's very important.
I think just in businesses in general, and you brought that up, I think Yelp reviews mean so much now. We've seen lawsuits.
Some people have been in trouble because
people
of
have bad experiences. They go and maybe tell a white lie or two. And then all of a sudden, this business takes a huge quantifiable financial hit as a result of these negative reviews. And it's the same for us, too. I mean, we get our fair share of naysayers and people that jump in the comment section to say nasty things. But if it doesn't have merit and there's not substance behind it, I think absolutely you should be able to be held responsible for that.
Yeah,
I think one of the biggest downfalls with social media is that there's that anonymity out there. People can make up a profile and then start posting comments. So it's it's definitely a double-edged sword. And again, that anonymity, that when people use it, they just think, I can make this comment.
And people would never say that to your face or in a real-life situation. But it's like, they'll do it on the internet so quickly.
It's the digital version of liquid courage, being able to hide behind an avatar and say whatever you want. Lucinda says good morning. Good morning to you watching and everyone watching this morning. Brandon saying happy for you in the new gig. Thank you, Brandon. Maybe I'll call into the after show sometime just to harass these guys when I'm up. Because it's 2 hours later in New York, so I might actually be awake at this hour. Give them a call and just give them a hard time. So Brian brings up an interesting point here. One of the top fans of the show. Brian, thank you for earning that little moniker at the top of your name. It means you're watching with us almost every day. We appreciate that. He says, I used to care, but I realized Facebook is just fun. So, counterpoint to you, Brian, but also in that vein, the internet doesn't matter. Like, it matters, but it's all fake? Does that make sense? Like,
totally,
I can understand the perspective that says, like, it has no tangible influence on your real life, day-to-day operations. It might affect you if you're a business or if you're an on-air personality, people saying negative things about you. But I think for the vast swath of the population, it is kind of just fun and games, and then you could just turn it off or log off when you're done with it and kind of just move on, because it doesn't matter.
So you think we have a real life that we live,
right?
Getting up and whatnot. And
the wife, the kids, the
then
dogs.
there's this online life, and I would be willing to bet most people out there, their online life is sunshine and rainbows.
Highly filtered.
Or it's chaos. Or they're just nasty human beings online, but they're not like that in real life. Like, people have these alternate identities that they can live digitally.
They either need thoughts and prayers.
Right.
Or this is what I'm eating for dinner tonight.
Right.
It's one or the other.
Well, the eating for dinner crowd is fairly innocuous. It's the people that go out of their way to make other people's days awful, I think, that I really just don't understand. Like, it's just a wasted effort for me. Like, what are you doing with your time? Like, can't you?
I can't.
I have better things to do than post like, I'll post, hey, check this out. This is what I did. You know, I'm new to the area. I went out here and I did this. And it's just sharing it and like maybe getting some suggestions. But I don't think I've ever posted anything I've eaten.
Well, I do. Only because I love exploring new restaurants. So I'm always like, oh, it's so pretty. But I will tell you, I have a one-shot rule. Like, take the picture and move on. Because my sister is one of those people who gets on, and before every meal comes, she's like, like different angles, different filter, whatever. And I'm like, can I just dive in and start eating? It's like, and I told my husband, I'm like, you get like 1 or 2 shots max on a dish, and then it's like, it's time to eat, right?
I don't treat myself with things that are photogenic all that often.
You had a good steak the other day,
I did, and
though.
I took a picture of it because I was
so
like, hey, that's a
excited.
nice steak. That's a beautiful cut of meat. She deserves to be remembered.
I appreciate it because I'd never heard of that restaurant. I'm like, Paul, where'd you go this weekend? I saw your lovely photo. It was a delicious
But
steak.
like, if I took a picture of every tortilla that I eat during the week, it's just not.
It has to be special.
There's definitely a difference there. Like, hey, this is what's for dinner time. Then it's like,
oh, nice Pop-Tarts.
I know. Like, if I ever posted what I actually fed my family, it would be quite contrary to what you
blue
think.
Box.
I know. Like, we're having tacos again.
My Instagram would be like, oh, grilled cheese and tomato soup again, huh? Comfort food for you there, Jamie?
Oh, that sounds good, actually.
Delicious right about now.
That's my go-to.
So Lucinda brings up an interesting point, too. Lucinda, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're the one watching out in Australia. We appreciate the international viewership. She says, my online reputation only matters when it comes to my mom and dad and family members. So that's an interesting point because I feel like there is a third identity that we have, and that's the internet identity for our loved ones, like our mom and dad. Like, I am a different person online when my mom or my grandma is responding to something than I am when it's like a male friend, especially, where you can kind of jab them and be a goofball a bit. But mom, it's like, you know, you got your angel wings in the back of your profile picture. Like, I love being on Facebook, Mom.
Slapped your hand for a post?
No, but she has gotten into it with like cranky viewers who have said negative things. Really? My mom has gotten into little spats back and forth. So watch out. Pamela might be lurking in the comments. Yeah, and you know, I appreciate it. It's nice to have mom in your corner, but at the same time, you're like, Mom, I'm in my 30s. Like, I'm good. Like, I can defend myself against the hecklers.
That. I think that's great.
I follow the principle, and this is with Facebook posts and Twitter posts for the most part, is I don't post things that I wouldn't want my mom or my dad to see. But at the same time, if there's like Messenger, like just back and forth, the conversation can get real childish in a hurry with me. Again, that juvenile, stupid humor. But again, you know, does everybody see this or just you know, this buddy or that buddy, that kind of thing. But it can be a nasty playground.
So Mindy must have missed the explainer on this story. She said, are these kids in high school? I think they're adults. I think they're both full-grown adults.
Because he was a business consultant, right? And I think that's the case where she literally was calling him an alcoholic and saying he was a cheater in his business practices. And that's why I understand why the judge awarded the $150,000 because you're literally hurting his livelihood with those types of posts.
And that's more than just calling someone a jerk.
Right.
I mean,
he broke up with me and I'm mad.
This clown.
No, that's a little more sinister.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting into libel and you're getting into slander and things like that. I mean, those are serious accusations. If someone wants to say that, you know, as a boyfriend or girlfriend, or a jerk, or
he's a bad kisser,
cheated on me, whatever.
Those are opinions, but when you start throwing labels
and blatant lies, in this case, it sounded like
lies.
Raymond says, nope, a little notoriety is balm for my soul. Just likes getting under people's gears online. Amy, another top fan of the show, says, not really. Most of the time, I just mess with people. You'll never know if it's about me, my family, or some other random person, and it's hilarious to see people's reactions. We call you a gaslighter, Amy. You're starting fires. She says, my settings are set to private, though, and I know every single person on my Facebook. That's something I've gotten better about. So when Facebook, not to age myself here, but when Facebook required a school email address, you kind of knew the people that you were accepting invites from. And if you didn't know them, they were at least classmates or people who went to neighboring schools. And so the bubble was really small. But once they opened it up to everybody, that kind of became a thing. And I had to sort of teach myself, don't accept friend requests from anyone you wouldn't like to know intimate details about your life. And so these days, like even a lot of current coworkers, and I'm sorry for this, but I don't accept friend requests from them, especially if I don't trust them implicitly. Like if they were to see that I was grocery shopping on a day I called into work, I don't want one of them running to my boss and being like, well, he was healthy enough to buy bourbon at the grocery store, but he's not healthy enough. You know, I don't want to mess with any of that.
Right.
Well, I'm not. No, I'm drinking the bourbon in the dark like a rat.
Exactly. Do not post.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway. I know. No, see, I was forced to join. I've said this before. My employer came to me one day. Yeah, they're like, you're on Facebook. This is your password. You can change it, da-da-da-da-da. So in those days, they didn't have fan pages. So I never really had a personal page. That's all that was available.
You.
So no, it was terrible because literally my personal page was 5,000 random people. I probably only knew 100 of the max that I reached. Because I just friended everybody because the station was like, just get your numbers. It was all about numbers. So I didn't have an ability to weed people out at all. It was like you just say yes to everybody until they tick you off and then you block them.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened with my Facebook. I have the profile and the fan page, and you know.
You and I are banned now.
Well,
did you get back on?
I got mine figured out.
Oh, you did?
It was a whole thing where Zuckerberg was like, "Hey, what's he doing in Tempe now?"
Come on, Mark.
I'm like, Mark, come on, it's Jamie.
Yeah.
No,
really?
he still banned me.
Do we have to do this again? So
no, I've been banned
But when
twice.
I started, I'm at one station, like, oh, you need a profile page.
Right.
And then about 6 months later, like, oh, no, you need a fan page. So now I have requests coming in on these profile pages, which if anyone out there follows me on Facebook, I don't post to my profile pages. I only post to my fan page.
Same. I post once a year. It's like, thanks for the birthday wishes to my personal page. That's it.
So people will friend me and I'll accept it, but then I'll say, hey, jump over to my fan page. That's where I do all my posting. So you talk about like getting to know intimate details about me. You're not going to learn anything about me on my profile page. You'll learn my
the basics.
Weird sense of humor or what I think is funny on my fan page, and that's it. So I've just resorted to that, and again, you got to test your audience. So I post something funny, and if you start to get the negative comments, like, all right, they don't like that. You dial it back a little bit, but so far so good, and you know, I keep it. You got to keep it PG-13.
Yeah. Rated R on the after show sometimes. We'll drop a 4-letter word or two. A couple more comments before we move along here. Sherry says, friend, unfriend, don't friend. Just mind your own internet footprint. It is something that I think this generation is going to be so much more cognizant of than ours was. We didn't know any better.
And we really, that's one of those things, talking to kids now that are getting ready to apply for colleges and things like that, because a lot of these elite schools are going back and looking and combing through everything these kids have been posting forever. So it's totally changed the game. And you have to say, oh my gosh, thank God it was not around when I was in college or applying for college. For a lot of reasons. But nowadays, it's something that kids have to seriously think about.
Leandro says, I don't care what anyone thinks. I know who I am and I'm a good person. That's it. That's all that matters. And Stefan says, sometimes it's best just to get away from Facebook for a little while.
Well, I was forced. I was given a forced vacation, still enjoying it.
When I think of the internet and anything you post on it, I always think of it this way. Getting something off the internet, it's like getting pee out of the pool.
Oh my gosh,
it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, because I've had some friends who've tried to get things out of their Google
Just let that simmer for a while.
I'm thinking about it,
No, it's not good. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Heather says, I don't think of my reputation while online, and what other people think does not define me. My being online is my diary. It's my thoughts, my feelings, my comments in that moment in time. We appreciate that. Well thought out comment there. One more from Priscilla. I just wish it mattered to more people. Yeah, fair enough. Daryl, one more. So does being on TV, a spokesperson reputation, matter to you? I know it does because you face millions of people that know you. We as general people don't see it that way. It's, again, just the other side of the looking glass there. All right, let's move on from this for just a second. Get to our ICYMI. In case you missed it on Today in AZ, this story made us laugh a little bit. I hope it does the same for you.
Well, what you wear or don't wear to bed apparently says a lot about you. A new study finds that people who sleep in the nude are more likely to be introverts and also night owls because they're freezing. But if you like to wear PJs, apparently you're more balanced between an extrovert and an introvert. On average, though, it takes people 3 months to feel comfortable about the clothing choice for bed attire. So, Paul, I'm not going to ask you.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going to go
No,
with this.
I'm just going to ask you. I don't know what that last line meant. Like, why would it take you 3 months to adjust to your clothing choice? I feel like it's something you make kind of early on in life.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I'll say this. I'm a late adopter to the sweatpants game. I did not own a pair of sweatpants as an adult until this past Christmas. I know that sounds weird, but now
How did you make it through the 80s?
Well,
you were probably like 2.
I wore a diaper through a lot of the 80s. Haven't worn a diaper yet in the 2020s, though, so round of applause
I
to
know.
me. Yeah.
Well, there's still time.
Again, it's a cycle. Life. I'll eventually end up back in the
You'll be
diapers.
back in diapers.
Probably the 2080s,
You'll be
actually,
glad
if I'm
for
lucky
it.
to live that long. Sleep attire.
I don't get the correlation.
Oh, it's
Introvert
buffering.
I know. To me, that was one of the most random stories.
We do have a fair number of those. In
That
the
one
section
really
of our
made no
show.
sense. It's like, okay, if you sleep in the buff, you're an introvert. But if you wear pajamas, you're both an introvert and an extrovert. And it takes you 3 months to get used to your choice of sleep attire. And I'm like, none of those 3 sentences made sense to me today.
Is there one that's definitively extrovert? Like extroverts do this?
That's sleeping nude outside. Yeah, that is
It's like
that's how you know.
starfish
Yeah. Take a look,
outside.
people.
Yeah.
All you can
Drink
eat,
it in.
baby.
Yeah, that's
Definitely
it.
not an extrovert. Yeah.
Same.
I know. That was a strange story. Sometimes you wonder where these producers find these stories. That was a weird one.
A lot of them are culled from this thing called NBC VOD, not to pull the curtain back too much, but it's a collection of like national news stories. They usually have like a little blurb that more often than not gets copied and pasted into scripts, and sometimes you raise an eyebrow or two at it. But I think that's our job as gatekeepers, is to laugh out loud at the things you're probably laughing at home.
That's
to be like,
a ridiculous story.
is this ridiculous to you? Because it sounds ridiculous to me. All right, let's sip on some fresh squeezed juice, shall we? Rachel, do me the honors.
All right, Dunkin' Donuts' new menu item is Snoop Dogg approved.
All right.
I sure hope so. So the sandwich will now be dubbed the Beyond DOGG sandwich. It is a breakfast sandwich made with plant-based sausage, egg, cheese, and glazed donut buns. So Duncan says it was inspired by the rapper's passion for plant-based protein.
Just plants in general. He just loves plants. Any greenery.
And he really loves donuts. So a few Valley Dunkin' Donut locations actually do have these sandwiches, so you can try them out for yourself.
So
Let
where
us
are
know
we
what
at
you
on the
think.
Beyond Meat, guys? Have we tried it yet?
No.
I think the closest I've gotten to anything like that is a veggie burger.
I'll do that.
And in some restaurants have outstanding veggie burgers.
Agreed.
And I just tried it. I was like, I'll give it a shot.
a little lighter.
But it's not. I don't go and get a veggie burger every time. I'm not dedicated to the veggie burger. But I've had some, and some of the restaurants even locally have it, and they're fantastic.
Yeah,
and they're really hard to tell.
But I think it's like, I want a veggie burger today. I just want a veggie burger. It's the whole thing where it's like, well, it looks like meat. The texture's similar to meat. In some cases, it bleeds like meat, but it's really not meat. I'm like, is that just necessary?
But when you know it's a veggie burger, you're like, okay, it's a veggie burger.
Right.
But if you want to blindfold me, I'm like, hey, do you think this is a real burger or not? I'm not interested in that. But to each their own. And if that's what floats your boat, go for it.
So here's what it would take for me, and I haven't tried it yet, but I have nothing against the Impossible Burgers or Beyond Meat burgers, and I like that science is getting to a point now where, like, we're probably only a few years away from like not killing animals as a primary source of protein. Like, it's going to be genetically engineered in a lab and sold, and it's going to taste and smell and look the same. The problem is, initially, that stuff is going to be very expensive. So the key for my point of entry for this is just cost effectiveness. If they can get to the point where an Impossible Whopper is cheaper than a regular Whopper, noticeably so. The counter down the street in downtown Phoenix, I believe they have the Beyond Burger. They don't have the Impossible. It's two different brands. If that was more cost effective than a typical burger, and I knew the taste was comparable, that would move my meter in the other direction. But I do enjoy eating meat. I do like the taste. And even if it is replicated, there's just no reason yet for me to make the switch, because I know it's not a tremendous difference in calories. In some cases, it's worse for you, from what I understand.
A lot of salt.
A lot of sodium. And I know that there is an environmental impact, and I am cognizant of that, but I don't think it's tangible enough at this point for me to make that switch on a permanent basis, like you said. I would dabble in it, but for me to make the switch, real meat's going to have to cost twice as much, or these things are going to have to be so prevalent and so readily available that, like, it's just an ease of access thing. I think we're just not at that tipping point yet. It's like electric cars. I want to drive an electric car. I would love to. we just don't have the infrastructure yet. There's no place to charge it anywhere you go. If you drive an electric car in downtown Phoenix, you know what I'm talking about. There's like 3 charging stations within 20 miles, and one of them is always broken. It's hard.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what the health impact ends up being. And I'm not saying, vegan or vegetarian or meat eater is the preferred diet. But when you make big changes, whether it be go to electric cars, when you go to a certain kind of food, there will be health implications, both good and bad. You talk about the impossible meat and stuff, the high sodium. So you're going to have an increase in heart disease or high blood pressure, high blood pressure. And people are like, well, I'm eating all this plant-based stuff. It's like, yeah, but your body, you go back to caveman DNA. Yeah. Your body needs good fats. So if you completely eliminate fats from your diet, your hormones are going to get out of whack, your emotions, everything. So there is going to be a little ripple effect. It'll be interesting to see 40 years from now or even 20 years from now, doctors will say, hey, we're seeing this trend in kids or people in their 20s and 30s. This is going on with them, and what will be attributed to it, both good and bad. But it'll be interesting to see what happens.
You were saying you're a sandwich gal yesterday. I'm a sandwich guy.
Yeah, I love sandwiches.
Zupa's, chain in the Northwest and now in the Southwest to some degree here. So they have great soup and sandwiches, but it cracks me up when I look at their menu and I'm always like, well, I'm thinking I'm going to be healthy today and get a salad with my soup. Every salad has more calories than the sandwiches there. Like, legitimately. So, I'll just have the sandwich and the soup. Thank you very much. People don't think about that, though. They think, it's a salad. It's a healthier option. It's just garbage in, garbage out. It's a numbers game when you're talking about weight loss. If it's 1,000 calories, the 800-calorie option is almost always going to be better off for you in the long run.
The lettuce is good for you.
Yeah, sure.
That's about it, though.
That's the boring part. I got to get my cheese on it and little crunchies and the dressing. Oh, my gosh.
Who am I to give you dietary advice? I eat Taco Bell voluntarily, so don't listen to me. I'm just some guy. All right, guys, we're out of time. Same show tomorrow. Maybe an extra human involved. We'll try to get Ryan to stick around instead of skirting his work responsibilities.
Yeah, speaking of dietary choices, maybe he needs to...
Oh, yes. He's still in the bathroom. See? No one's heard from him in a while. We'll have to go check on him. 7:30 after show tomorrow, people.
Bye.
Thanks for joining the discussion.